What do these ongoing Fates playthroughs on YouTube all have in common? Birthright no pair up, Conquest no pair up, Conquest Among Us, the Train Everyone Challenge, Conquest Class Catastrophe. If your answer was that they're a challenge run in Fates, well, you're right, but the answer that I was looking for is that every single one of these playthroughs all ban the DLC and path bonus rewards of the game. This ban list includes things like the Before Awakening DLC and the 2 Gift from Anna DLCs, which were added to the game completely free of charge. All you needed to do was have an internet connection, and then you had these. So why exactly is it that we ban these rewards? Why do we intentionally restrict ourselves from using all of the tools that the game gives to us? To no one's surprise, it's because these rewards from the DLC and path bonuses make the game easier. How much easier? Easy enough to make every single unit in the game capable of completely soloing with almost zero effort. To prove this, I've completed a run of Conquest on Lunatic difficulty, commonly believed to be one of the harder games in the series, where the only unit who was allowed to partake in meaningful combat was Nyx, commonly considered to be the worst unit in the entire game. Like my Setsuna video doing the same thing in Birthright, there will be a lot of speed up in music involved, as this video will encapsulate the entire run, but I will chime in on the maps that require some explanation. Let's begin. The run begins in Chapter 9, where you first recruit Nyx. Of course, Nyx is going to be marrying Cora in this run, but I also spend a bunch of maps trying to build support between Odin and Elise to unlock the Calamity Gate and Horse Spirit. Honestly, if you want to do this run yourself, it's way easier to do Odin and Felicia, because you can't use Elise for Chapter 12. While pursuing this as support, I guess I just didn't realize, but I accidentally fed the literal first kill of the entire run to Odin on this map instead of Nyx. As of recording this, it's been a full week, and it really did take me that long to realize that I immediately messed up. I don't care enough to redo this entire challenge just to pick up this one kill that would end up making things even easier for Nyx in the long run, so I'll just hold the L on this one. For the most part, this chapter goes about how you'd expect. I use Effie to block all the choke points, and I give Nyx all the stat boosters up to this point, which is the Goddess Icon from Chapter 4 and the Talisman from Chapter 8, and I also give her a tonic in every stat. I spent a lot of the time on this map just training up Nyx to get Malefic Aura, and after she got that skill and didn't need the high damage output of Tomes anymore, I reclassed her into Outlaw to immediately start working on her bow rank. She isn't going to be going with the Sniper Vantage Nyx strat like you probably should, but I still wanted to get Lucky 7 because hit and avoid stacking is very important for this run. I also wanted to get Lock Touch on Nyx early so I wouldn't have to bring Niles or Kaze to future maps. This makes getting things way easier for grabbing chests such as the ones in Chapter 11, Chapter 20, 26, though I do deploy Kaze in Chapter 23, as I wanted Nyx to have other skills equipped then. Overall, a pretty straightforward chapter, and I swear every map won't be as scuffed as this one. I really don't know how I never realized that I gave that kill to Odin. As said before, I'm not doing the Sniper Nyx strat, so I'm not going to recruit Mozu in this run, as instead I just wanted to solely focus on Nyx's bow rank in order to get her to see and use the Shining Bow once I unlock the level 2 shops. I rushed to do this right now because once the game starts to get harder, it's going to be more difficult to find spots to train her bow rank, obviously. And I wanted to spend as little time in adventure as possible anyways, because her accuracy is really bad with the Shining Bow, even with Heartseeker applied. Luckily, there are a few maps that are very good for bow units around the same time as units are reaching level 5, so it isn't all that bad. After I get Nyx to see bows, I go ahead and reclass her into Dark Flyer. I will use Witch later, but this is the class in particular that really makes this so easy, because it gives Nyx a strong flying class in the early game, and that flight is going to help me a lot with making Chapter 10 go as smoothly as it possibly can. Speed plus 2 is also very nice because Nyx stacks a Void, and because she's just so frail, she really does need to dodge like a lot of her attacks in order to survive. It's very lucky that speed is one of the 2 stats that she actually has growth in. In Invasion 1, I of course am building up her tome rank and now grabbing speed plus 2. The only notable thing about this map is that she's required to one round the boss because he has lunge and can seize if he lives. Otherwise, it's not too hard of a map, I just needed to get a little lucky with pretty likely dodges. And I get a free goddess icon out of it, so that's more dodge. In Chapter 10, I spend a lot of the earlier parts of the map with Nyx in the center area while I have Arthur and Niles grab the houses. Effie is paired up with Silas to block the Archer choke point for basically the entire map, and when Camilla joins, she'll do the same thing to the Oni Savage side. I use one of the rescue charges here in order to travel a maximum amount of distance, because the easiest way to beat this map with just Nyx is to kill Takumi, so he doesn't drain the water. But I also wanted to keep all of the enemies that are in the center area like away from my main team for as long as I possibly could, because a lot of them aren't too bulky and they can very easily die. This required Nyx to dodge a lot of attacks. So for this map I had played it on Nyx's birthday. And if you play a map on someone's birthday, you can get a surge of speed and luck. Which doesn't do anything in terms of her capabilities of one-rounding the enemies, but it does increase her avoid chance against every enemy on the map, which is very crucial for helping her survive, especially for things like the ninjas. I think in this clear, Baruka does accidentally get 1 kill because I leave her equipped while blocking the choke point, but otherwise this map went pretty smoothly. The most unfortunate part is that I didn't really find time to grab the Draco shield, but that isn't really the end of the world. It's Nyx. She's not going to have good defense anyways. In Chapter 11, I put her in Witch to use the absolutely broken stat line for this point in the game. However, in the long run, the only thing that Nyx really cares about from Witch is that it has better avoid chances than Sorcerer does. Otherwise, they're effectively the same class. I don't even really use the skills from Witch too much aside from like Witch's Brew for the free tonics, and I think I used Shadow Gift like a couple times, but I'm not even totally sure on that. Chapter 12 is a little tough because there's an enemy Shrine Maiden who has a Silence Rod, which can make Nyx unable to actually attack enemies, which is very bad given the time constraint of this map. To remedy this, I brought along Camilla, who tanks the Silence Rod by going in range of Saizo's group while holding a tome, and she does that while Nyx is busy grabbing the free surges from the pots. I do kill Ryoma, and I don't think I grabbed the chests. In Chapter 13, we get Charlotte, who is going to be my choice for Nyx's friend in this run. I'm trying somewhat of an unconventional build of Soul Horse Spirit Nyx, because it sounded a lot more fun than just Vantage sweeping the whole game. I will die on this hill that Vantage Life and Death it's fun to do like once, but after that it's a little boring. So I just thought that Nyx being in Hero sounded like way more fun to me, so I'm gonna do that. Corrin's class is Diviner, so Nyx will be able to go into Baysara for Chapter 19, and I will eventually give her Tome Fair for her damage stacking. For this chapter, I do miss out on the first village because I need to play slow to make sure Corrin and Benny don't accidentally steal any kills. I probably could have grabbed the house if I tried to be super aggressive, but I couldn't really be bothered. The gold isn't too necessary because all the money's going into one unit anyways, so we'll have more than enough. In Chapter 14, I let Keaton die. I did make an effort to recruit him in previous attempts, but all that it really did was prove to be a liability, so I thought it would be better to just not bother. I spend some time having Odin chip a Shrine Maiden for his support with Elise, and I bait out all the offensive staves with Corrin and Leo. The reinforcements are probably the hardest part of this map, because keeping the enemies away from my units that aren't Nyx proved to be a little bit of a challenge, given all the enemy flyers, but it wasn't anything too awful, and it was far from the hardest map in this entire thing. In chapters 16 and 17, I used these two maps to get next to level 5 in Adventure for Lucky 7. The only notable things are that I took the boots, because obviously I'm not using Shura this run, it's a solo. And I used Saizo to clear out a lot of the enemies in chapter 17, not because Nyx couldn't handle them, but because I wanted to keep Nyx's level decently low to help her experience gain be faster in Paralogue 2, which I will do before chapter 18. Alright, so now we're on to Ophelia's Paralogue before chapter 18. I really wanted to grab the Calamity Gate and Horse Spirit before continuing on with the main story. And then Nyx's friendship with Charlotte finished on this map, so I went to Kana's Paralogue immediately after this to grab Soul and then switch into Baysara. Also before chapter 18, since I was already in Baysara, I decided to go ahead and do Invasion 2 in order to get D rank and lances for Kitsune Lair. This map, I deployed a bunch of shelter units to make the start way easier because Nyx started running into this problem of having too much avoid, so the enemies wouldn't attack her. So I had to get pretty creative with things in some of the maps. This one was probably one of the worst offenders, but overall it wasn't the end of the world. In chapter 22, I grabbed Tome Fair from Omioji, and then I immediately afterwards reclassed Nyx into Sorcerer to grab Vengeance and, more importantly, Bowbreaker, in order to get some reliable hit rates on Takumi in chapter 23 and Endgame. I did try Bow Knight for a little bit because I do want Shuriken Breaker for chapter 25, but there's still plenty of maps to grab that skill, and I figured that it could wait until chapter 24 with all the flyers so I could use the Shining Bow on them. Otherwise, pretty easy chapter given all the low accuracy axe guys and all the forts that I can abuse. Chapter 24 is the final map where she'll be in a class that isn't Witch. After this, she'll have all the skills that she will want for the last few chapters of the game. And the Witch class gives her S rank in tomes back and the highest possible avoid stat, so I chose that instead of Sorcerer. The last major hurdle is Chapter 25, because fighting Ryoma is actually a little annoying. Chapter 26 isn't so bad, because I still get access to Korin pair up, and I don't have to fight a bunch of Master Ninjas and Automata and Master of Arms with Inevitable End. The only thing I have to worry about on Chapter 26 is the Hexing Rod, but since I can determine always when that's going to be into play, which is every 4th turn, I don't really have much of an issue with it. In Chapter 25, to no one's surprise, I'm bringing Bowbreaker, Shuriken Breaker, Nyx, and she is just going to try her best to dodge everything. Which, with enough resets, it did work, because her odds are pretty decent. However, she does end up getting her defense sealed by so much that she just gets one-shot by some enemies. So it took a bit to get the right RNG for. I brought Izana for Rally Luck and Magic on Nyx for the left side, and then while Nyx works on the right side, he uses Rally Luck on Korin so he doesn't get crit by Ryoma, because by the time Nyx starts working on the right side, Ryoma will be active. I'm not doing the cheese strat for this, where you wait 20 turns and then you kill Ryoma through the wall, partly because I wanted the chest rewards, and also because Nyx faces pretty big crit chances against Ryoma when he's on the special heal tiles, so I figured that I'd have better odds trying to just play it straight. Also very importantly, on this map, I reclassed Charlotte into a maid, and you always love when that's the most optimal play. For chapter 26, I completely skipped the hero room by getting entrapped. Honestly, this chapter is pretty straightforward. I just need to get lucky soul procs and dodges while avoiding Nyx getting hexed, because if she gets hexed, she'll get one shot by some of the berserkers if she gets hit. And there is a real chance that she will get hit because of Enfeeble and Freeze every turn. Also, towards the end, when I was grabbing the 3 chests near Iago, I got stuck in a freeze trap, and I had to just wait it out until Nyx eventually dodged like an 81. It's very lucky that she has good resistance and like a horse spirit, because otherwise it would be quite annoying. for Endgame, I don't have a unit with pass, so I just use the Zoran setup because it's one of 3 Endgame setups that I only know how to do. And the other 2 involve either one of pass or shove, neither of which I have. Nyx was not able to 1-round Takumi, but she was able to 2-round, and I was lucky enough to have this happen, so here's my live reaction for that.
What should we do?
And then thing to you.
Stand firm.
Shelter.
Such a nuisance.
Take. Switch. Thing.
Stiff upper lip.
Separate.
We meet again.
Shelter.
Kill them all.
Switch. Thing.
Destiny placed me here.
Hit you.
We can do this together.
Hit you.
Let me help.
Good luck. Nice.
The chosen hero arrives.
Don't die on me. Not yet.
That is unlucky. I could totally get that to 25. Hit me. Hit me. Fuck you.
Can I help?
I'll show you the meaning of fear.
Fuck it, you know? We ball. Fuck it, we ball. Bye, Odin. Bye, Felicia. Bye, Ophelia. Oh, who we leave? Oh, there goes Elise. And Azura. God damn it. And there's Baruka. This is a massacre. Oh!
Ready for this? Not a chance. Are you okay?
You know? I'll take it. Why not? We'll go with it. Sure. You know, it's a complete massacre. Everyone's dead, but